What's up, Helix users, HX stompers, HX effectors, Podgo, no, maybe not Podgo yet, eventually. Today we are going to be talking about the new 3.1 update that just came out for our Helix, HX Stomp, and HX Effects. This is a really great update, probably one of the better ones. So there's not a ton of things added to the HX in terms of effects and amps and stuff. We got 1 amp, reduction of oversampling, which basically means it's going to make everything sound better and sound cleaner. And this is something that you kind of just need to plug into and experience to really get the grasp of. Understanding it conceptually, basically, when you're playing, you kind of hear what's described as like squirreling or like little like weird high-end things. It's called aliasing, and it's a very unusual thing that you almost don't even realize that you hear, but you know is there. So when you update to 3.1 and you plug into your previously existing presets, you're automatically going to hear a pretty drastic difference. I personally felt, I thought it was going to be like kind of a BS thing, like, oh, okay, cool, oversampling to be like Fractal. But there is something to be said about it. I see all the time that Fractal's very praised for using the oversampling, and that's why it sounds the way it does. So this potentially could sway people to give the HX stuff a shot over the XFX stuff, because everybody always says the XFX sounds better. I'm not one of those people, but if you are, maybe now with this update, the Helix stuff will satisfy your needs, and maybe you should give it another shot. So if anybody has both, you let me know what the 3.1 update sounds like compared to your XFX. I am actually genuinely curious about that, as I'm sure plenty of people are. So share it in the comments. Be much appreciated. So let's get down to the features of what 3.1's adding. So if you guys have already updated to 3.1, I want you to go down to the comments section, type in your favorite part, show some love in the comments, talk to each other, get a little thread going on what your favorite features are, what you think is best, and what you think is maybe not best, and let's help each other out. So first off, don't be that person that screws up the update process. They've mainstreamed everything, they've streamlined everything in terms of the updating process. Now just when you open HX Edit, if you're on 3.01 at least, once you open HX Edit, it's going to prompt you and say, HX Edit has an update. You hit install, it updates HX Edit. Once HX Edit is updated, it's going to also say that you have a chance to update your Helix product, whichever it is. You hit update now, you go through, you make a backup. Very important now. That backup is always prompted. You'll always have to do that. Now, what they recommend you do is a factory reset. Once you hit that factory reset, you are going to install the backup that you just created and import all of your stuff. Should take a few minutes. This new process flies by. It's totally streamlined, makes everything so much easier. Let's move on. So I don't think anybody is surprised at this point, because I'm a little late to the game on this video, but we added the rat distortion, the orange Rockerverb, the tape emulator, or real, what is it called? Real? Hang on. Dynamic Hall Reverb, Hot Springs Reverb, and we added the Retro Reel is what it's called, which is actually going to be one of my favorite things that's ever been added to here. And the kind of redheaded stepchild of the update is the Euclidean delay. As a math major in college, I was hoping to never hear the word or name Euclidean again in my life. So that, I could just tell you right now, is going to take some time to process and understand. So I'm not covering that one today. Sorry. So let's get to some of the cool stuff. Let's see what these sound like. For the demo, I'll be using my Sir. And I don't know if you guys could see it in the background there, my new vintage ES345. Maybe that's going to make an appearance at some point soon. Okay, let's get after it here. So right now I've got my Princess dialed up, my favorite. I made this one for free. I put it up for you guys to download. One of the best presets I think I've ever made. It really came out awesome. Let's cover the retro reel first. So what the retro reel does, it simulates playing a signal back from an analog tape machine. The signal can be distorted, filtered to sound older, more lo-fi, modulated with wow and flutter. And you can use this on anything. It doesn't need to be guitar. It could be on anything in Helix Native and all that good stuff. Okay, so we're going to get a nice little tape warble, and what this does, it kind of instantly just warms things up in a cool way. So let's hear what this sound is without it. This is just dry, just my Princess preset. And now let's add the retro reel. So what you're hearing is like a little bit of that tape flutter, and it's gonna, I don't know if this is gonna translate over YouTube or not, but if you listen, there's a very slight little warble to it. I'm gonna increase the wow flutter and get rid of some of the high cut, and let's see if I can get this to really pop out at you. So it almost adds like a little bit of a vibrato, almost like a Boss pedal vibrato. And it gives it that vintage lo-fi sound, which is really cool. I like the wow flutter to be a little bit more subdued. And let's keep some of the texture up. What do we think? Now without it. So it just gives it that cool little thing. I'm probably going to use this as like, this is going to be like my mono summer. I almost feel like this is a good thing to put on after your cabinet block. So right here I have it after, but I'm almost thinking it might be best right after the amp. And then let's move on. Let's go to the Hot Springs, because this is one that I'm really excited about. So the Hot Springs is basically a real sounding spring reverb. Let's hear what this one sounds like. So what I'm listening for here is the splash, is what I call it. It's a splash sound. They call it ploink in the write-up, but I call it splash. And you can control how many springs you have. So when you go up to 3 springs, and you have your dwell. Everything else is pretty straightforward as far as settings wise here. I like to bring the high cut down a little bit because these could get a little bit bright. And let's mess with the drip. So the drip, you can do high drip. I'm muting it because I think that's what makes it stick out the most if you want to hear it at home. Here's medium drip. And low drip. You guys let me know what you think is the best sounding of the reverb action here. So I'm going to keep it on low for now, keep it subtle, and keep the mix at around 30-ish. And yeah, this is a nice little bass tone. Real vintage sounding. Real nice vintage type of sound. Let's go and mess with some of this hall reverb. So for me, hall reverb kind of fall into this one. It could just go forever. You can go from what is it, 0.6 or something like that. You go from 0.1 seconds to infinity. But we're not going to go infinity right now. So let's keep it at a nice, I'm going to think 4 seconds would be nice. Cool. Pre-delay is cool. That's how much transient note you want popping through before the delay trail hits. 50 milliseconds is cool. I think I usually keep it at around 80. Diffusion is like it's like the stuff that's in the room. So when it's at 90%, it seems like there's a lot less in the room as opposed to 0. Now you have dampening controls, damping controls, so that you can make it darker as if everything's being dampened. So if you have like blankets thrown all over the place and it's dampening the room. Not dampening, damping. Dampening would be if you're making it wetter. So here there you got the nice transient note and you have a nice warmer reverb. Compared to when this is like maxed out. You get it. That's what damping does. Then you have your mix. Motion is how much, I guess, is happening behind the trails. So you can kind of hear that dancing versus without. So the motion kind of stays straight without anything going on. And then add the amount of motion you want. If you're doing swells and stuff, that's going to be the primary use for me with this one. Is do like swells, keep it dark. I'm going to get rid of the low cut because I'll keep those. And let's add some of this and act like I'm going to do some swells. Mod chorus echo. Bring that feedback up. Yeah, so here I would probably do swells with this type of sound. Nope, that's not right. Cool. So that is the couple of effects that I wanted to cover. I wasn't planning on doing this, but let's do this where I'm going to just pull up the Mandarin rocker. Pull it up, amp and cab straight up. Haven't messed with this before. Let's see what we got. Let's change this cabinet. Yeah, not bad for having all the knobs at 5. Let's take off that tape emulate. I don't even need to mess with that sound. I love it. I wasn't expecting to even like the Rockerverb that much, but wow, that's a pretty good crunchy tone without even having to mess with anything. Okay, so that is my 3.1 update video. Just throwing a couple of things together, messing around with things quickly. I'm sure I can get more in depth with these as time goes on, but let me know what you guys want to see in the future from me regarding this new 3.1 update. Any HX content, you let me know what you want to see, and I'll do my best to get it out there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.